Let me tell you about one of the most incompetent experiences I ever had working on the streets trying to get rough sleepers off the streets and into accommodation. This one's around Manchester City Council, no surprise. Working with a guy on the streets in the city centre, ex-forces, and he was ex-forces. Most of the people who tell you they're ex-forces are just lying, but there is some ex-forces out there and he was definitely one of them. One day he had the misfortune of bumping into Andy Burnham when Andy Burnham was doing one of his walkabouts at 6-7 o'clock in the morning in the city centre for some press attention about how amazing he is ending rough sleeping. And this guy was quite vocal, this ex-army guy, and he collared him and says, what about me? What are they doing to help me? I'm ex-forces. And to give Andy Burnham some credit, he phoned up the council that day and said, that needs sorting. I do not want to be pulled up on the street by an ex-forces rough sleeper in front of the press. Get him off the streets. And the council did. Council found him a one-bedroom flat in Gorton. And that was the end of the matter, or so we thought. So when I started speaking to him, he'd had the flat for 9 months and was sleeping on the streets still. And I said to him, what are you doing on the streets? You have a flat. And he went, Nick, it's not as easy as that. But 9 months ago, the council moved me into the flat, which was great. A nice little one-bedroom flat. He goes, I liked it. And that first night, all I wanted was a hot shower and a cup of tea. I had no gas, I had no electric. And I stayed there for 2-3 weeks in the dark, waiting for the council to sort out my gas and electric. And they didn't do it. And they couldn't do it. And in the end, I decided I'm better off on the streets. So he moved back on the streets. Flat still there, being paid for by council tax and housing benefit. That was how incompetent that service is. Now it's worse than that. I then approached the council and said, right, we need to fix this. Let's get this guy's flat. Gas and electric. Yeah, so we can move in. And they said, well, someone's been tampering with the gas and electric. The guy who moved in before he was there. He's been tampering with the meters. It needs all new meters. I don't care what it needs. Get the meter sorted out. Yeah, Nick, but you don't understand. He has to be there when the meter people come. Because it's his flat. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, we don't want to go into his flat if he's not there in case he accuses us of stealing something. Stealing something? You don't have a pot to piss in. What can you steal? He's a drug addict living on the streets. Well, we might be able to go in if we have his consent. I said, right, I'll get you his consent. So I drew up a legal document, found him on the street, sat down, chatted to him and said, right, this is what we're going to do. Let's put a plan together to get you off the streets. And then the next day I said, we'll get a council officer out who can be your caseworker and they can work with you to get you off the streets. So next day we sat on the pavement in St Anne's Square in the city centre, the three of us, and we came up with a plan. And the council agreed that plan, sat there. By the time I walked back to my office, I had an email of that council officer's manager going, no, we don't agree with any of this. What was the plan? The plan was, here's his written consent that you can access his flat. If you need him there, let me know and let's arrange a date and we'll pick him up and we'll take him there. And the council were like, no, it's all just too much work. Too much work. We've given him a flat. The rest is down to him. We don't care. That's exactly what, they didn't say that word, but that's exactly what they meant. We don't care. He's hard work. Well, he is hard work. He's extremely hard work. But that's your job, working with people who are hard work. It's like a doctor going, oh, I'm not working with him, he's too sick. He's too sick. I only work with the healthy patients. That's your job. That was when I realised working on the streets and trying to change the lives of individuals one at a time was worthy, but it wasn't fixing anything because the system's broken. We need to change the system. We need someone who can put a rocket up the council's backside. We need someone who can highlight heads of service and highlight the manager of that team and say, you're failing, you're disgraceful, you're incompetent. That's what we need. That's when I decided I need to stand for a seat somewhere, a council, an MP, mayor. That's when I decided that just before COVID. That's how we change things in this country, through the ballot box, through changing systems, not through complaining and moaning or giving up like that gentleman on the streets had done, just giving up. So next time you walk past someone rough sleeping in the city centre, don't think to yourself, if only we could give him accommodation, if only he'd accept help and support, if only, if only, if only. It's far more complicated than you possibly can imagine, but it's doable. If we can tackle the incompetence at the heart of this problem, it's all doable. And give me a chance in May to become mayor and I'll show you it's doable. And if I don't, sack me. That's how politics works. See you next time.